Hello and welcome to episode 7. And in this episode, I'm going to be building a quarry. Now this quarry is going to be sort of like the main reason there are people on this island. There's either a precious resource here, maybe they're just mining coal, maybe they're mining stone. I don't know, but this is the main industry on the island will be quarries where they're going to be digging stuff out the ground. So as you can see here, this is going to be an open top mine, and it's going to be a tiered mine. So there's obviously the ground level, and then it tiers down to another level, and then it goes down again, and then down again, and down to finding the bottom level, which usually requires pumps to keep it from flooding. But we'll get into that later. And as you can see, I'm adding a sand texture, which I'm sort of using as a dirt texture because it looks like dirt. The theme I'm using, this is the sand, and it looks very dirt-like, so this is the one I'm using. I'm just building the road down from the top that trucks and equipment would have to use. I think I changed that dirt road because I don't like the fact that the dirt road has very strong like grooves where the cars drive. It just doesn't look super realistic, so I end up changing it to the paths without the lampposts on. I find it looks a bit better. It looks more like just a normal dirt path that trucks would be driving on and driving down. Here I'm redrawing this road. I didn't like how it looked. It looked weird. I don't really understand why I changed it, but I did. And here I'm piling up the dirt, or I don't know, I'm guessing this is excess dirt left over from the mining operation. I'm not really 100% sure how mines work, but I'm sure there's leftover dirt in places. And right there you saw, I've realised you can place them on top of rocks. Because I'm guessing it's the is it the place anywhere mod or something where you allow you to place things on top of buildings. I guess the rocks are sort of classed as buildings, so it allows me to pile the excess material up quite high, so it makes it look a bit more realistic than these really flat piles that go on for ages. You've got these quite tall piles that I could imagine have been building up over, I don't know, 5-10 years. You would think they would move it, but maybe they have. Maybe this is excess. That's all I know. I'm adding a couple different colours just to make it seem, I don't know, more realistic. That there's different colours in there. Some of the clipping issues make it look a bit weird if you look at it too closely. So I try not to look at it too closely. Otherwise I'll probably end up changing it. Up here I was thinking about building like, I guess the main area, sort of the refinery or the power plant for the plant where they power the pumps. I'm not really 100% sure what that building will be. Eventually when I plop it down, it'll be something to do with the quarry, that's for sure. And here I'm just using the surface decals to create a sort of texture on the ground. And as you see there with the dark one, I was contouring it around the edges to have a more, I suppose, what's the word? Striking? No, not striking. Just more of an edge, so you can see there was an edge there, and it just looks better, I find, like that. The surface decals are good for this. I do use a bit too much, I think, but it's better using too much than none at all. So that's what I went for. That bottom layer I just created was the going to be like the newest part of the mine, where they would have just started to blast that area out. So maybe all this dirt is left over from that area there. It has been blasted out. It's been carried up to the top bits. Yes, that's the reason. That's why all this dirt's here. I sort of thought that they would maybe want to keep certain resources, so I made this one just a pile of sand, because maybe there's a lot of sand here and they end up selling it. So selling sand for dirt cheap. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with more decals around the edges. Yeah, more contouring around the edge of the quarry. Making it fit in better, I suppose. Making it look more like a proper working mine. That rock decal is very good, but the only problem is it doesn't work on slopes, which is annoying because this is the one place you want to use a rock decal. I know you can allow them to be placed on slopes, so I don't know why the person who made it decided that it was a good idea not to, because surely you would just want it to be placed literally everywhere, because it's just a decal. It doesn't matter where it gets placed. But oh well, what am I know? I don't make decals. I just place them. Up here, yeah. See, now I'm gonna plop this building down. So I'm not really 100% sure what that would be. It's a building. It's definitely something. I know it's a power plant in the game, but maybe a refinery, maybe a power plant for the stuff down below. I don't know. But up on this top bit here is going to be a sort of area with workshops to repair equipment, maybe sorting houses, shipping houses. There will eventually be a train track that I put in that comes up to here. In this episode I put it in, and so that'll be stuff they're getting out on the train being shipped away and stuff that's being, so it's like a handling office, I suppose. I placed these buildings in a circle because I thought add a bit more variety to the layout, but it just didn't fit. I wanted to make it look more organic. Like those buildings have been there for a while and they just grown in that sort of way. But I didn't like how it looked. I'm trying to find more ways of making things look more organic. But I find every time I do it just looks out of place and looks stupid. But you know, what am I gonna do? Just keep trying, I suppose. And I got a tip for you if you're ever using these paths, and you know there are like pillars at the front of the path entries. You can simply place a small, tiny road at the start, and it will remove those pillars, so they won't be there. There must be another way, but that's the way I used. So you just use a tiny bit of road right at the intersection on the dirt path, and it will remove the pillars, so you don't have to deal with them. And then you can just use the move it tool to move it under the paths that's hidden. As you see here, I'm working out, trying to see what the hell, why some of them have it and some of them don't. No, just do that. There you go. Shown. Easy. It's as easy as that. Because I didn't feel like those fit with the aesthetic of the quarry. They wouldn't really have that sort of barriers. Why would be the point? They'd just be in the way. They'd just be knocked over instantly. It's I don't know. And then up here I made a sort of like a tiered bit. So maybe this was an earlier part of the mine. It's even more tiered. And I put some decals on it that are grass decals, and then I come back later realizing that I have grass decals. Like grass, you can paint grass because it was sand. So I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place, but we'll see that eventually. Here you see I'm adding the train station in. I don't end up keeping this train station. I just felt that even though I like this train station, it looks really good, it didn't fit the theme of this area. So I ended up changing it for a more modern looking one right now. There we go. So all that work undone, and then I place this one in. You gotta not be afraid to delete stuff. That's what I always think. If something's bugging you, you gotta delete it and start again. It can be annoying at times, but sometimes it's just better to just redo it. And this is the train line. It would be like the main shipping line that goes down to the harbour area. So I could imagine in the past or now, it would have been a big deal that they put this train line in to get from the quarries to the harbour quickly, so you can sell their goods away in other places. I'm not really sure how well it would do nowadays, but I'm thinking this is quite an old quarry. Like, it would have been like that for at least a couple of years, probably like 100 years. They've been quarrying this area, this entire island. So I probably will add some more quarries, but they will be a lot smaller and they won't have a train connection. They'll just have a hole in the ground with a couple of diggers maybe digging up the stuff. Here I'm trying to add things on to that building, trying to make it look different, I suppose, just more interesting. I ended up finding the metro overhaul. It's the depot. And it's quite a nice building, so I end up sticking it in here. But I didn't like the fact that it had metro lines sticking out one side. So what I do is I grab another copy of it, place it, spin it around, and just place it so that neither one is showing the metro lines underneath. Yeah, it's quite a nice building, like a warehouse or something. This is going to be up here, the sort of rail yard depot area where trains will be stored when they're not in use or being repaired, but I don't end up finishing this area. That'll have to be in another video. Now, I looked at that corner and thought, that's too tight. So I ended up changing that, making it more of a sweeping turn. That's probably too tight there, but you've got to imagine that trains turning that corner will either be empty or there'll be hardly any. There'll be like a single carriage going down there, and they'll be going very slowly. So it won't matter how tight it is, as long as they can. I do wonder what the maximum turnability a train can turn. I'd be quite interested to look that up. I should look that up really and see what that is. It's probably quite wide, thinking about it. But oh well, I'm not a train engineer. Now this is the main checkpoint area. That building there is going to be the checkpoint, and the one on the main road is sort of like, I'm thinking, the administration office. So if you need to go see the administration office, you don't need to go into the quarry. It's pointless. But that checkpoint is there for vehicles leaving and entering the quarry to stop anyone going in there who's not meant to be there. Now I'm just drawing some decals on the ground to mark where these trucks would be parked. That again, I get loaded up or unloaded and then loaded onto the train in the depot. I end up changing that bit, yellow bit. I didn't like how I made the circle. It just looks crap, to be honest. The circle. So I ended up changing that with another decal. It's quite nice. I should finish it up with a nice fence. I think I go back and delete that fence. So it was pointless. At this point, I was getting a bit bored of building the quarry. So I just thought, well, what could be here? Maybe a petrol station. So I just took a petrol station there, and then go back to working on the quarry, because that was enough time for me to stop building on the quarry. Now I'm just adding some surface decals on the ground, making it look like this place is very heavily used. It's been here for a while. Like I said, like the main quarry will probably be 100 years, but this building, at least 60. Like, it's been here. It's been here a good old long time. There's a couple bits there which you didn't see me build before, which were like an oil and gas depot sort of thing, which I imagine they'll need because they need to fill up all their vehicles, so they'd have it on site. And it's just by the train station, next opposite the car park. Should keep all their cars fueled. Now I'm adding what I think is the perimeter road. So you wouldn't be allowed past this road, because then you would technically be on the quarry's property. It keeps people out from falling into the quarry and injuring themselves. So I just add a nice sort of tree line around it, keep noise levels down, make it nice. And I add a couple bushes just in places, try and fill out the area. A couple of gula grass or something, whatever it's called. It fits in quite nicely and sort of imagines that this area, no one goes there, so it doesn't need to be maintained. Just left to grow. Now here's where I get this surface painting around and start pretty much going batshit crazy and just surface painting everywhere. On that bit I was trying to imagine where people would be like walking or driving trucks around. This is a new-ish asset on the workshop. It's a coal storage area. So maybe they're digging up coal here. I mean, that would make sense. There is coal in that pile, and there's coal in the trains. So they're digging up coal. That's what this mine is for. It's for coal. I have decided. Why didn't I think about that when I was placing them? I don't know. I think here I'm trying to add some more pipes, because as you see, there's a couple pipes in places that are like pumps to pump out the I suppose water, because quarries tend to fill up when you leave them alone. They'll fill up with water, and so you need pumps going 24/7 to keep them dry, so people can work in them. I think I've got 4 pumps just around the quarry. They're big pipes leading in, and then they go into the ground. And I imagine that they would then pump the water out, but you can't do that in the game, so you just have to use your imagination. Or your imagination. I just thought that this building was a little boring. I have too many of them. So I added this pipe thing on top to make it look more interesting. It does make it look more interesting, but I'm not really sure the purpose that having pipes on this roof would accomplish, but it looks pretty good. I like it. And I'm not actually sure what that is. I think it might be for grain, but I'm imagining it stores something. It's quite an older building and it looks a bit more run down, so maybe it was here before this train depot was installed and has just been left because it's not worth knocking it down, so it's just there and waiting to fall down instead of getting knocked down, because it's cheaper that way. I'm still going mad with surface decals, just going crazy, placing them everywhere. Now in this area I'm going to have a this is going to be sort of the main workshop, open air workshop, where big trucks will go and big diggers just to dig up the areas. There you go, I'm putting some here that they're getting maybe fixed or they've been fixed. Like they're broken. So I assume that stuff in quarries breaks a lot. Because you would think after lifting all that, doing all that heavy moving of earth, you think there'll be a lot of breakdowns and malfunctions and just general, maybe there could be even accidents. So they need to repair the vehicles. I'm just adding the finishing touches, I believe, to the area. Adding some grass in places that would never be maintained because there's no need to. So it's just allowed to grow. To grown? It's just allowed to grow. Same as the bit out front. There's some trees and a couple bits of long grass. That's maybe this quarry owns, but they don't. They feel like they don't need to maintain it because it keeps the sound down. It keeps people from looking in. Don't know why you want to look in a quarry. I suppose I don't know. Do people people go look in quarries? Maybe they do. It can be quite interesting. Still placing more surface decals. I think that one's the wet surface road, but I find it looks quite good. It looks like a big stain or a big area that's just aged differently to the rest of the like tarmac or concrete. Now I'm just going over this bit that I drew before to make it look less like, because when it was just the paint it looked weird. I don't know why it did, but as you can see it looks better here. I'm still not 100% happy with it, but it looks better. You can still see the roads underneath, so it looks like people have driven down there more than anywhere else. Finishing up a couple of finishing touches here. Adding a couple more buildings in. A couple gas or petroleum. No, there wouldn't be petroleum, it'd probably be gas. A couple of supplies. That would be then taken down to the bottom of the mine, maybe to help on those buildings that I placed down there, or some of the pumps maybe. Maybe that's what those pipes are for. I don't know. I just place things and it makes them look quite nice. And then finally, I think this is the last bit. I just make a small sort of staff car park. People park their cars. It's nothing big. It's just a dirt area. Because why would you pay them? There's no need. And that's the end of the video.